How's it going, everybody? Jeff Zahler, Zahler Properties, here with a different type of market update for you. Look, you've heard me, you've heard everybody, you've heard the news talk about median sales price. We know it, it's through the roof, right? June 2021, our median sales price for a single family home, $395,000. The highest it's ever been for Las Vegas, and even $10,000 more than it was just last month. But today I want to do something a little bit different. I want to talk about, okay, here's what the median price was for a typical home now. What could have that price point that you had spent on that, if you were buying a typical home now, what you could have gotten a year ago, 4 years ago, and even 7 years ago. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So again, as I said, today, a typical home for June of 2021 was $395,000. That would get you about 1,900 square feet, 3 bedrooms, two and a half, 3 baths, 2-car garage, in a nice home, probably built sometime in the mid-2010s-ish, if you will. So relatively new, nothing too old. Great home. But what we always talk about is how much homes are going up in value. I'd like to kind of look at it differently today. So let's take that $395,000 that today would buy a typical home, and what kind of home you could have gotten if you go back in the past, just for a fun exercise. So for June 2020, $395,000 was significantly higher than the median sales price. The median sales price last year in June was only $325,000. So you're talking about a $70,000 difference in 1 year. Crazy, right? But here's what $395,000 would have bought you a year ago. You're looking at about a 2,600 square foot home, 4 bedrooms and 3 baths. So in a 1 year time frame, obviously we know the median price has gone up, but if you look at the home, you could have gotten 700 square feet more home and an extra bedroom buying last year for the same price as this year. We know your salary didn't go up that much and all that stuff, so sometimes it is timing that is everything, as we know. So again, last year, June 2020, you could have gotten 2,600 square feet or so, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, and with a 2-story. Not a bad home. Rewind further, let's go back to 2017. That's where things really start to change. So in 2017, your median home price was in the low to mid 200s. I know, very scary. 30% cheap, 33% less than it is now. Crazy numbers, right? Insane numbers. Here's what you could have gotten if you spent $395,000 in 2017. You were looking at a 2,600 square foot single story home with 4 bedrooms, 3 or 4 bedrooms, 3-car garage, but you're probably also looking at a pool. You're probably looking at a home in a gated community. So the same money gets you a 2,600 square foot home, single level home versus a 2-story in maybe a nicer neighborhood for the same amount of money. That's a big difference when you're talking about a 4-year period, right? And we obviously know, had you bought that for $395,000 4 years ago, how much that house would be worth now. Hint, it wouldn't be worth $395,000. It's going to be way more. By the way, I did go pretty deep into the numbers on this, so I have a blog on this. So check the comments in this video. I'll have a link to the video, or excuse me, I'll have a link to the blog for you, okay? So that's 2017. Pretty significant jump. I went back even further to 2014. 2014, I figured 7 years ago, I used 2014 for a couple reasons. A, it's 7 years ago, which is right in alignment with the average American lives in a home between 5 and 8 years. So I was like, okay, this could be your next cycle of home, right? The other reason I used 2014 was kind of just purely for myself. My wife and I, Sydney, bought our home in 2014. So I wanted to see this exercise, what would have happened if we could have been there. So here are the numbers, and they're going to scare you. 2014, June 2014, the median sales price for a home in Las Vegas was $199,950. You heard that right. Under $200,000. Under $200,000 was the typical home. That was one of the last times we had a 1-0 time. It stayed below $200,000, but basically since then it's gone up, right? We're talking about a 50% difference. Your money has doubled in 7 years. So what does that 2014 home get you? This is where the number went crazy. You're looking at probably a 3,000 square foot home, 5 bedrooms, 4 baths, 3 baths, something around there, a pool, and definitely gated. Really big difference when you compare 2014 to 2021. You're talking about 1,100 square feet of living space. You're talking about 1 to 2 extra bedrooms. You're talking about a gated community versus a not gated community. You're talking about a pool versus no pool. That is a gigantic difference. So this video is not to scare you. If you've been thinking about buying, this is not to scare you. If you're thinking about selling and buying, this is not to scare you. This is just a simple, different way to look at real estate, right? There's always the right time to buy real estate. If you're thinking the market's going to drop, It may drop a little bit in the future. It may not. I actually expect the next 2 to 3, 4 years to be positive, by the way. What you're definitely going to get, however, is you're never going to see a market quite like it was in 2008 to 2010. You're not. That was something that was caused by an absolute worldwide economic pandemic, if you will. Mortgages going crazy. Mortgages are not like that anymore. It's a lot harder to get money like that without proving you can pay it back. Okay, so we're not going to see a repeat of 2008, 2009, 2010. We're not. The other thing you're going to think about is, okay, what kind of quality of home are you going to get, right? So if you're always thinking about waiting, you're always going to be waiting too long. Houses may come and go. They may go up and down in value a little bit, but think about the type of house, right? I just talked about a 7-year window. 7 years. You're talking about 1,100 square foot difference. You're talking about an extra 2 or 3 bedrooms. You're talking about having a pool versus not having a pool. It's big difference. Interest rates have been about the same. Actually, they're lower now. Hint, hint, not a bad time to buy than they were 7 years ago. And that's where we are. Now, there's a famous quote. It's been quoted. I've seen more than one person quote on it, so who knows who the original quote is from. But and I'm sure you've heard it. It's, don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. If you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of us. Thanks for watching.